Do you guys like spending more cards than you need to on money? Well, that's the wrong way around. Do you guys like spending more money than you need to on cards? Well, this video is going to be for you because we're going to be talking about some cards for these upcoming new Aetherdrift commander decks that you guys should be looking at potentially picking up right now. I'm not, super into the investing kind of thing, but I do think that saving money and buying these cards early is going to be a good idea before they potentially hike up. Because, they're always, looking at what they're going to reprint. We can kind of guess as to what they're not going to reprint, I think, and then kind of make a decision from there of, get these cards before they come out. We're also going to be talking about which of the new commanders look really great from the new precons. We're going to talk about all those face commanders and stuff like that. But I do think that you should start looking at the upgrades for these decks right now based off of a number of different things, thinking about whether they're going to be reprinted or not. I'm not really into this investing side of Magic, keep in mind, but I do think getting ahead of the curve is going to be a good idea for you. And this year, we're going to be keeping track of all these kind of suggestions that I give you guys. So that way I'm betting against myself. I want to end the end of the year with as big a percentage of growth as we can to the cards that I've suggested you guys potentially pick up. And we'll look at like which ones have grown the most and which ones have not and stuff along the way. So let's have a look before before we continue. Make sure you guys subscribe. This could be the last video you guys see from me because apparently some people aren't getting my stuff showing up on the homepage. So you guys need to make sure you subscribe so that way you can see me within your subscriptions and, it gets pushed out to your homepage and stuff. We're trying to hit 25,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So starting out with the Eternal Might Precon. So this one's going to be based around cycling and discard. We've seen that already with the face commanders. And we can make a lot of judgments off the actual deck based off of the face commanders because the face commanders are what are meant to kind of tie the deck together. They have the themes from the deck built into them, etc. So we know there's going to be cycling. Well, very likely cycling, at least because of the fact that there's card draw and discard built into the two commands we've seen. There's very likely some zombie tribal stuff here as well as tokens. There is definitely going to be tokeny stuff in here. Both these commanders do stuff with tokens, or at least implied towards tokens. Now, it does not appear there's going to be uses like using the army mechanic at all. Some people thought, the fact that it says grow your mummy army meant that it was literally army, but it doesn't appear to be. It appears more like, growing out a big board and going wide. So these are the two face commanders, or, the two commanders. One's face, one's the kind of backup commander within. We've got Temet Naktamun's Will here. He's got Vigilance, Menace. Whenever you attack, draw a card, then discard a card. Then whenever you draw a card, zombies you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. So this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about cycling very likely being within this precon, or at least cycling would fit insanely well within the precon because of the fact that it's discarding, it's drawing, it's going to get procs from this kind of stuff. And we know that it is in the base set a lot. So this one here, I really like. I like the idea of, whenever you attack, draw a card, discard a card. It's just, being able to cycle 3 cards, but also the fact that you don't need him to actually attack, just anyone attacks. And then also it's whenever you draw a card, not whenever you draw 1 or more cards. So if you draw, say, 5 cards at a time, that means all your zombies are now getting +5/+5 until end of turn. Yeah, you can kind of guess the fact that it's also got the cycling, also got zombie tribal within it because of the fact that, there's both doing stuff with zombies. Like the face command here literally just has buffing up zombies. So we've got some kind of tribal/kindred stuff in there. We've got Hashatan, Scarab's Feast, and I think this might be my new favorite commander, and I really want to build him. So despite the fact that, he's just got Orzhov off here, because he's got the blue down here, he is an Esper commander, just like the face commander here. He has, whenever you discard a creature card, you may pay 3. If you do, create a tap token that's a copy of that card, except it's a 4/4 black zombie. You can use this to cheat out so much stuff. If you cycle, say, a troll of Nazda, whatever his name is, the troll, or something like that. Like any card that you're cycling where you're discarding that card, you can then pay 3 to also create the token copy of it. And as well as, you've got that cycling stuff of it. I love how they had to put it as tapped, because if it was not tapped, it would just be way too strong. So you can see here between the two of them, we've got discarding, we've got creating tokens, we've got zombies, and we've got draw cards, discarding cards and stuff. Like there's a lot of kind of stuff that we can do between the two of them. I will say that I definitely love Hashaton the most out of probably all 4 of the new commanders that we've seen from this set. Temet is nice, but I don't know. Like I think Hashaton's just more versatile. All right. Let's get into the cards that I'm going to suggest. Tortured Existence, straight up, boom. Now, they obviously could potentially do a reprint for this, but I very doubt, I doubt it a lot. I think this is a card that definitely deserves a reprint, but I doubt they're going to reprint it within a precon. There are certain cards that they kind of, I don't think they print within precons. They're the ones that I think are just stronger or don't fit the actual flavor of the set as well. Like, don't get me wrong, that we do know that they're going to re-flavor some cards to fit within it. Change the art up, similar to how they did with Innistrad Remastered, change the art up, and they did it with the Bloomburrow precons, the Duskmorn precons as well. And this is one that it could definitely do it with. I just don't think that it's very likely that they print it within this precon because of the fact that it would just be too strong, in my opinion. We've got Ledger Shredder. There is a 0% chance that they print this within this precon, and there is a 100% chance that this is just a really, really strong card within this precon. So, first of all, you get to connive. So you get to draw cards and discard cards. That is going to buff up, if you've got, what's-his-face? Well, I'm going to forget their names. Temet. If you've got Temet as your commander, it's going to be buffing up all your zombies whenever you do that. And Ledger Shredder is just already really strong, and it's just going to be even better. Also, the fact that this allows you to be able to potentially, with what's-his-face, Hashaton, create zombies on other people's turns as well, right before your turn when you are going to untap, and boom, now it's untapped and you get to attack with it on that turn because, it didn't come in that turn. It doesn't need haste. It's just, it's really good. I think Ledger Shredder is just going to be crazy in this deck. We've got Psychic Frog. Being able to discard at instant speed is really nice. It's also got the draw the cards thing, and then it's also got a little bit here with exiling cards, right? So exiling cards from your graveyard. We know we're going to be cycling stuff and discarding stuff, so being able to exile stuff from your graveyard isn't going to be a bad idea as well, because you're going to have fuel within that graveyard unless they add so one thing that you'll notice that I do not put in here is Rise of the Dark Realms, because I do think Rise of the Dark Realms will be within the precon. But I do think that, being able to discard, exile, say, lands that you've cycled or something is going to be a decent idea, and it will buff up the Psychic Frog. But it's not even just for that. It's the other parts, the drawing the cards and the discarding cards, that is just even better on this dude. We've got Currency Converter. When you discard a card, you may exile it from your graveyard. Now, keep in mind that the discarded card is still discarded. So it still is discarded. You won't be able to, if you've got Mass Res or something like that from your graveyard, you won't be able to use that on it immediately, obviously, but it still gets discarded, so you'll still get procs for if you discard stuff, etc., and you will still be able to use Hashaton to create a copy of whatever it is. However, then you've got Currency Converter that you can, 1, draw a card and discard a card for 2 if you want, or you can just tap it to get either a treasure token or a extra creature token. We know that creature tokens are going to be within this within this deck. So having more creature tokens isn't going to be a bad idea. And I just love the idea that you can, get rid of your lands, discard them, and then be able to create treasures from them. We've got Rooftop Storm. Now, this has just been reprinted with the Innistrad Remastered, which is why I do not think that it will be printed here. However, I do think that it is going to be relatively strong within it, because you get to pay 0 rather than pay the mana cost for your zombie creature spells. Oh, wow. Okay, so let's just bring out whichever commander you don't have. Let's bring out Temet for free or Hashaton for free. Although, realistically, Hashaton's almost free anyway. But whatever zombies you've got, you can bring them out for free. That's just crazy. Now, later on in the video, I will show you what they are all sitting at price-wise. Rooftop Storm, I deliberately did not put a price for, because of the fact that it has just been reprinted. So I'm waiting until that Innistrad Remastered kind of hits the reprints and drops the price a little bit before I put it onto the spreadsheet. Patriarch's Bidding. Again, doubt it gets reprinted. It's not really flavorful for the set, not really flavorful for the deck or anything, but it is going to be crazy for the deck because if you cycle out zombies, you create zombie tokens with whatever, and then you can bring them all back with Patriarch's Bidding. Really great. Alrighty, next up we have Nesting Dovehawk. Now we're going to be creating tokens of things, right? Potentially, especially if you're using the secondary commander that I like more. Being able to populate tokens is absolutely bonkers because now not only have you created a token of that card, which is still sitting in your graveyard so you could bring it back later on, you can then populate it, create another token copy of it. It's just crazy. As well as the fact that it just is getting huge. Nesting Dovehawk, honestly, is just a lightning rod for removal because of the fact that it is just going to do so much for you. And it's not quite as expensive as I thought it was. Maybe just over here in Australia, it's like $40 at the moment. But over in the US, you guys have got it pretty, like a lot cheaper, like 11 US bucks or something. We've got Lorien Revealed. A little known fact, a lot of people don't realize this, but with stuff like island cycling, it is just search for an island card, not a basic island, any island. So you can search up a triome with this. There's going to be procs for, discarding cards, drawing cards, etc. This is not drawing a card. It is technically tutoring it, but any procs for discarding, boom, you've got this. It's really great. We've got Mask of the Schemer here. Obviously, Connive is also going to be strong within this deck, in my opinion, because of the fact that it is drawing, it is discarding, and it is also going to buff up stuff. So if you go swing in with this, this is a repeatable way that you can connive, as well as, the way I said about Ledger Shredder earlier on. You're going to draw the cards, then you're going to discard cards, then you can create tokens of those, or whatever you want to do with the discards, get the procs of your drawing cards, etc., etc. Put +1s on things, boom, you've got huge zombies, or you've just make a token copy of whatever it is. It's amazing. And then finally we've got Caretaker's Talent. As I said with Nesting Dovehawk, create a token copy of whatever big token you've made, or just draw cards for free. Well, not free, it's it's a relatively expensive card now, but it's still good. And then also buff up your creature tokens. So overall, we're aiming towards more of the token stuff and some better discard stuff that I doubt is going to be within the deck. And then, being able to get that Rooftop Storm as well, I think is going to be great. And as I said, because it's just been reprinted with Innistrad Remastered, I doubt they reprint it here. A lot of these things, Bloomburrow, I doubt that they would be reprinting things from Bloomburrow. Mask of the Schemer, potential, but again, it doesn't really fit the flavor so much. Lorien Revealed is a card from Lord of the Rings, so not going to get reprinted. Anything that's Universes Beyond is very unlikely to get reprinted. I don't think they've done it yet. Even if it had a name that was more, actually, maybe I guess Saw in Half was probably the closest. All right, moving on to Living Energy. This is obviously an energy-based deck. We've got artifact creatures and looking like some creating constructs too. So like tokens, big artifact token creatures. We've also got some artificer stuff in here, which is interesting. There's some potential vehicle synergy and vehicles within it, but we don't know entirely yet. It could just as easily, not have too much of it. We do know that Chandra's mum is going to be able to create some vehicles, but we don't know beyond that how much vehicle stuff is in here. I'm going to go under the fact that there's very likely just going to be artifact creatures, and I think that that's okay. Even then, vehicles are artifact creatures once they're manned. So, yeah. All right. So, these are the two commanders here. So, we've got Saheeli as the face commander. She is whenever you cast an artifact or an artificer, create an energy. And then at the beginning of your combat, on your turn, you can pay 3 energy. When you do, create a token that's a copy of a permanent you control, except it's a 5/5 artifact creature in addition to its other types and has haste. Now, if you think that's, if you think you've read that before, it's basically like Mishra's Warform. You can technically create a token copy of any permanent with this. Yeah, so you can copy enchantments, creatures, artifacts, whatever, and then they all will become artifact creatures with haste. You can also copy vehicles, which is what I love about that Mishra deck, is you could just turn your vehicles into the war form and then swing the war form at people. As a secondary commander here, you got Pia Nalar, Chief Mechanic. She has whenever you one or more artifact creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, you create 2 energy. So technically, if you go and hit 3 people, then you will create 6 energy on a turn. And then at the beginning of your end step, you can pay energy to create a colorless vehicle artifact token with flying and crew 2, where X is the amount of energy you spent. So you can spend as much energy as you want or as little as you want. If you just want to spend 1, boom. So this is really good because this is not a legendary as well. So you can technically create a whole bunch of these Aether jets and just create this huge Aether jet army. So that's what I was kind of talking about with vehicles. This is vehicles directly. This could potentially be synergizing with vehicles, but we don't know entirely. Like, it could go either way. I think that there's going to be more vehicle stuff in here than we've seen in either of the previous 2 energy precons. And I think that kind of will put it aside from those, like, you know, set it apart from those a little bit, but still we'll have to see kind of thing. I'm not a huge fan of these ones. Like, I think Saheeli I like more, just purely because I do like that idea of the, like, Mishra's war form generating and creating, like, or like, what's his face? Like Bellow. I love how Bellow, like, turns your vehicles into artifact creatures, and you don't need to man them and stuff. That's kind of like what I like. So overall, you know, I don't think these 2 are quite as interesting or quite as cool as the ones from the Armanket precon, but still pretty good. Like, right? They're still pretty good. So going into the ones I suggest you guys pick up, Urza. There is like a 0% chance that they reprint this. First of all, they really think that this card is just really, really strong, right? It's going to be bonkers strong, especially in this deck that's going to be creating a whole bunch of artifacts. It also lets you tap your artifacts to create more mana. Oh, and then play one thing for free as well. It's just really strong. It's just crazy. I doubt they print this within this deck, but it's also definitely worth picking up for this deck. Even if it does end up being vehicles, this synergizes well with that. We've got Gontai's Aetherheart. They just printed this within the, which one was it? The Modern Horizons 3 precon. Obviously not the Fallout one. So I doubt they reprint this here again, but it is really strong and it's really worth picking up. And it's pretty cheap at the moment because of the fact that it was, you know, printed within that precon. But if it's not printed within this precon, expect this to just go crazy high. We've got Electro Siphon. Counter, create energy. It's only like 1 more cost than you would have for like a normal counter spell, and you're going to create a whole bunch of energy from it. And because of the fact that both our commanders here are more like energy dumps, right? Like, actually, no, only one of them, I guess. I guess PNLR is more like an energy dump. Saheeli's not, because of the fact that she can only spend it once. But if you got like Pia as your commander, it's going to be great. We've got Desynchronization. Assassin's Creed card, not going to get reprinted. It is going to make it like an asymmetrical board wipe, essentially, because artifacts and legendaries, that's what you're going to basically have, while everyone else will have, you know, their tokens and their creatures and their stuff like this, and, you know, just send that all back to their hand. We've got Crystal Skull Issue Spyglass. Again, another Assassin's Creed one, because Assassin's Creed had this like historic side like themes in it. This one's great as well because you can play historic lands and historic spells from the top of your library. So if you've got artifact lands, boom, you can play those. If you've got artifacts or legends in your deck, which you will, boom, you can play those. As opposed to like Mystic Forge, which only allows you to play colorless cards from the top, I believe. Yeah, only play colorless or artifact spells from the top. This is going to let you play a lot more, as well as you don't have that like potentially getting stopped by a land or something, and then you need to pay the life to exile it. You can just play that historic land with this. Only once, but still. And it's a mana dork. It's just great. Like, if you guys are playing Mystic Forge and you're in blue, I think the Crystal Skull is just better. We've got Unwinding Clock. I don't need to explain this one. It's not going to be in the precon because it's just so strong, but it is going to be bonkers within this precon. Displaced Dinosaurs. Not going to get reprinted because it's a Doctor Who card. Now, anytime a historic permanent, did you know that artifacts are historic permanents? Anytime an artifact enters, now it enters as a 7/7 dinosaur creature. So now, when your vehicle comes in, it is a 7/7 dinosaur artifact creature, it is just going to be really great. We've got Canoptic Scarab Swarm. There is a bunch of things that are, anytime an artifact enters, create an energy. This is going to make a whole bunch of artifacts entered by exiling someone's graveyard. It's a graveyard hate card. It's going to be unlikely that, it's going to be more like niche, I think. But when it goes off, it is going to go freaking off. If it's, you could use it on your own graveyard, even if you really, if someone's wiped your board and now you've got a whole bunch of artifacts in there, you don't have much recursion for whatever reason, then you can use this to just boom. Now I've got a heap of these insects. I'm going to be creating 10 energy at once and just going to be able to create a 10/10 of this vehicle and boom. We've got Simulacrum Synthesizer. I can't pronounce Simulacrum Synthesizer. So, for the same reason that Urza is just really strong in this is going to be relatively strong because of that construct. However, this is creating multiple of those constructs. Anytime an artifact with mana value 3 or greater. Now, keep in mind that if you use Saheeli to copy an artifact or copy fucking anything that is mana value 3 or greater, it's going to come in. It still has its mana value because it's still a token of that. It doesn't get renamed. With Saheeli, it does not get renamed. It is a copy that is a target permanent you control. So it still comes in with its mana value. You will be able to create one of these every combat as long as you pay for it. In fact, why don't you just create another copy of this? Create another copy of this, because why not? You have to have a way to avoid sacking it, but still. We've got Artificer class as the last one here. Discount your first artifact you play, draw an artifact card, and then at the beginning of your combat, at beginning of your end step, create a token that's a copy of target artifact you control. Okay, so have a look at Saheeli. Saheeli is sack it at the beginning of your next end step. This is make the token copy at the beginning of your next end step. Do you know what? If you stack these correctly, you can create a token copy of that thing. Now you don't need to sack that one. And then you need to sack the other one. Boom. Now you've got a permanent version of that. And we were just talking about a permanent version of this. Oh, look. Now I've got two Simulacrum synthesizers. I cannot pronounce that word. Simulacrum synthesizers. And now every time a mana value thing comes in that's 3 or greater, I'm creating 2 of these huge constructs. Oh, man. It's just going to be bonkers. All right. So here we go. Here is the current tracking. So as you can see, the Rooftop Storm, as I said, I put it 0 in it because of the fact that it is going to be going down. However, we are tracking them currently at the moment. Percent change is obviously 0 because I've just created this video. And, you know, I could put a wide variety of cards in here. You know, Electro Siphon's a 16-cent card up to some of the like more expensive ones in the Saheeli deck that are just going to be relatively strong, like the Urza, the Simulacrum, and the Canoptic. Caretaker's Talent's relatively expensive, and Nesting Dovehawk as well. But, you know, there's some cards in here that if you don't pick them up relatively soon, they are going to spike. I expect as soon as the Precons are fully revealed. Now, keep in mind the Precons are being revealed earlier this time around. They're not waiting until the end of the set being revealed to reveal the Precons. So you need to keep an eye on this and potentially pick them up if you want to. Stuff like Crystal Skull is a very safe bet if you want to build that deck, in my opinion. Displaced Dinosaurs, a very safe bet, in my opinion. There are some safe bets on here. There are some that are going to be a little bit more gambling, like Patriarch's Bidding, or maybe even Currency Converter. But, you know, Ledger Shredder. Yeah. How much they go up and how much they don't, we will see. I don't know if I should wait like a month and then do like a recap of this, or if we should just wait until the next time we do stuff. Who knows? Let me know what you guys think. I hope you guys had a wonderful day, and goodbye.